Let's get this show on the road, boy. I'm John Brown, and here we are. Here we rolling. Man, we got a lot on the show. Kicking it with coaches stopping by. We're gonna talk soccer. We're gonna talk about the NFL's new top 100. We're gonna talk about the top quarterback and who's not in the top 10. By the way, which is a trip when you read it. And we're also going to talk about the home run derby. But before I do any of that, again, as always, I want to let y'all know if you want to be a part of the John Browner podcast, like Kicking It With Coach, just head over to the John Browner podcast at gmail.com. You email me, we chat, and I see what you want. And then I get you on the show. It's really very simple. It's not that hard. John Browner podcast at gmail.com. As always, a shout out to my people at the Sporting Tribune for linking with your boy. Kicking it, got a lot of big things coming up with these guys for football season, and I can't wait for that to get started. And that's why we're gonna start talking about football in a very short period of time. And by the way, did you know this was the deadest part of the sports calendar? Yeah, like World Cup is literally saving broadcast television when it comes to sports talk because there's no NBA Summer League is at the point where no one cares about it anymore because you played your two games. You saw Darren Peterson. You saw AJ, but Darren Peterson already not playing. You saw AJ DeBonsa. You've seen Caden Boozer be very, very good. We've seen Caleb Williams look like he might be the best of the four. We saw Keaton Wagler stink it up. We saw Mikael Brown, by the way, already not playing again. We saw Darius Acuff. So we've seen the guys that we wanted to see. We've seen the headline guys. And so after that, guys are really going to stop playing. Summer League is basically for these guys to get their feet wet, get a couple games out there, and then get them to training camp healthy and not injured. So that'll be what it is. So yeah, a lot on the show today. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. So also, as we continue to bring subscribers on, I would love it if you guys would continue to like and share the podcast, like and subscribe. Continue on the John Browner podcast. We were on the we were doing 300, and now we on the road to 500. We on the road again. I just can't wait to get on the road again. We on the road to 500, man. 500 subscribers. That's where we're going next. I know that graphic needs work. Okay, I get it. I understand, but we're on the road to 500, and that's the next goal is to get to 500 subscribers. So walk with me, talk with me, and let's get to 500. Now, before Coach comes on, I want to talk about what we saw last night. Jordan Walker saved the night. I don't know if you are a big I don't know if you're a big home run derby person. I am not. The idea to move on from Boomer doing back, it was corny, but that literally became the home run derby. So last night, the home run derby and the NBA dunk contest have two things in common. If you don't apply the names, you cannot apply the eyeballs. If you cannot get the top dunkers in the NBA dunk contest, it hurts the product. If you can't get the top home run hitters if you can't get the top home run hitters in the home run derby, it hurts the process. Can you imagine the coverage on the home run derby if Shohei Ohtani as I call him, Ophony, had participated in it? Kyle Schwarber was great. Kyle Schwarber's a home run hitter. He's a big name. He did what he does. He hits home runs. Bryce Harper out in the first round. But nonetheless, you had Bryce Harper. You had Wilson Contreras. I know Aaron Judge is hurt, but there are a lot of other guys who I would have liked to seen in the home run derby, similar to what happens to the dunk contest. And so now it basically turns into an electric atmosphere for a batting practice. And luckily, Jordan Walker saved the night and saved himself because he made $1 million. And he ain't making $1 million his entire season. So tip of the cap to the paycheck. But if you were watching a home run derby last night and you're watching the balls fly, or you're watching the balls not fly, if it really had a okay, now what? Because unless these are like bomb home runs, unless these are bomb home runs from guys you don't know, what, like, where's the juice on this thing? Where's the juice on it? Jordan Walker came through big time with six, I think the number was 6 straight home runs with no swings left to spare. He literally was against the ropes. And by the one of the sweetest things that you saw was his family, was mom and his dad were there. And he rose to the occasion and he met the moment. That's awesome. Don't get me wrong. That's awesome. What Jordan Walker did, that was awesome. The rest of the competition was it. If you have to, I see how a kid would still love the home run derby. I don't understand why people are packing the stands like that to see the home run derby. I don't. Are those tickets free? I don't think they are. So as I'm watching it, I started doing other stuff. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I started doing other stuff. Like it was, again, there's nothing on in this particular time of the season for sports. So it was on. I wasn't intently watching it. I would look at I hear the hit, look over. I wanted to see the final. So when it got to the final, Schwarber put his number up and Walker was putting his number up. I thought it was over with. I literally came back. I think he had hit the 3rd home run when I walked back near the television. And I was like, oh, he's got one left. Okay, I'll watch the one. And then another, and then another, and then another. And then and now you've got energy. Now you've got something. Now you have something to be entertained by. Now I'm locked in. Now there's drama. And Jordan Walker rose to the occasion, man. So shout out to that young fella. Shout out to that young fella. What up to the chat pack coming in early? What up, Tito? What up, Raiders versus everyone? B. Thompson said he didn't even know the home run derby was yesterday. Bruh, you really didn't miss nothing. You really didn't miss anything. The home run derby has a NBA dunk contest feel to it when it was like Jason Richardson was the champion. Those were great dunks that Jason Richardson did. And I'm not trying to slight Jason Richardson. As a person who won a couple dunk contests, I don't mean to brag. It's not easy. It's not easy. But when you talk about the record and name recognition, that's where Jason Richardson got his name off the dunk contest. What's it? Zach LaVine got his name off the dunk contest. So I hope Jordan Walker can turn this into something. But in baseball, it's hard to then go into the season and start hitting home runs. Like Matt McClung has hung around the NBA literally so he could participate in the dunk contest at All-Star Weekend. Biggie says, what's up, JB? I saw the highlights of the home run derby. I personally never watched any of the All-Star festivities in any sport, but I did watch the highlights of the derby with an E, not a U. Ha. So, yeah, man, I think that we have reached a point where some of these things are not necessary. Like, I honestly feel like we don't need the NBA dunk contest anymore. If you're not going to put, if Shohei Ohtani, if Aaron Judge, if Bryce Harper in it, though, Kyle Schwarber in it, if you PCA, Pete Crow Armstrong, if you don't have household recognizable names participating in this glorified batting practice, like, who's Jordan Walker? No disrespect, but Jordan Walker made a name for himself last night. Jordan Walker, Zach LaVine, that thing. Jordan Walker, Jason Richardson, that thing. Like, do you know who Kenny Skywalker is? He's an obscure NBA name. I only know it because he won an NBA dunk contest in the 1990s. Had a big old high top fade. Played for the Knicks at the time he won the championship. They called him Kenny Skywalker because he could jump high and dunk. Kenny Skywalker never had a meaningful moment in the NBA, but I remember his name. Like the Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter dunk contest elevated Tracy McGrady. By the way, Tracy McGrady went on to have a great Hall of Fame career, but that's where you found out who Tracy McGrady was. You already knew who Vince Carter was. But these are opportunities for these guys to make a name for themselves, because before tonight, if you didn't play for the St. Louis Cardinals, if you're not a fan of the St. Louis Cardinals, you had no idea who Jordan Walker was. This is the hardest thing to do in baseball. Because can you name a home run champion that wasn't already a star in baseball? And Biggie says Jordan Walker's having a hell of a season. All that might be true. Oh, I'm not denying any of that. If Juan Soto's healthy, why Juan Soto ain't out there? Like, when you get a healthy Ronald Acuna Jr., why he ain't out there? Why Freddie Freeman ain't out there? Like, why don't high-profile baseball players participate in this thing? That's my only question. It's my only question. I'm glad Jordan Walker had his moment. It was beautiful to watch Jordan Walker come down the stretch, and every home run he hit, they would cut to his mother and father. That was awesome. That's wholesome. That's picture perfect. That's what you want. Jordan Walker, ride that momentum, buddy. Call Campbell Soup. Call Campbell Soup, bro. Get you some ads off this. Make some money off this, Jordan Walker. Get mommy and daddy to get together so y'all can do some commercials or something. Because that was wholesome. That's a one-on-one America right there. That's one-on-one America. We'll see if that happens, though. I can tell you one thing. That was Pete Crow Armstrong hitting them home runs. He was cutting to his mama and daddy, hugging and smiling, wearing Pete Crow Armstrong jerseys. That Disney movie would have already been written. Okay? That script would have already been greenlit. The Major League Baseball has a minority problem. Not the one you think. They have a black player problem. Jordan Walker can help fix that. That should be everywhere. I don't work for Major League Baseball. I don't want to try to help Major League Baseball. But if you want to work on reaching out to minority communities in America, bang. Bang. Jordan Walker's your guy. You start with using what he did last night and catapult that into something else. So, yeah, have that be what you use the home run derby for. And in 15 years, I hope a young man, 20 years, a young man can remember that time he watched Jordan Walker win the home run derby. Like I watched Kenny Skywalker win the dunk contest. Yeah, Kenny Skywalker ain't never did nothing else in the NBA other than have a kid and play high top and win the dunk contest, win a Knicks jersey. I couldn't tell you his 3-point percentage. I couldn't tell you if he dunked on somebody during an NBA game. Couldn't tell you. But that was Kenny Walker's moment. Now, this is Jordan Walker's moment. So shout out to him, man. Shout out to him. Let's bring in Coach. Because as I've said before, I'm not a soccer professional. I'm not a soccer know-it-all. I don't know anything. All I know is that the VAR works. At me. The John Brown Podcast at gmail.com. I'm a fan. I know it's going to make people mad, but it is what it is. They got it. VAR got it right. Stop the flop. What up, Coach?
What's going on? I like that. Hashtag stop the flop.
I'm thinking about printing some shirts at the shop, bro. I think I'm going to make some shirts. Stop the flop.
Yeah, I like that.
How egregious was that?
I mean, there was a couple moments of that where you're a little frustrated because they got it right. And you're like, dang, like, a little human error in there and maybe it's a little different, but how you going to be, you can't be mad if they got the call right. You know what I mean? But it depends on what side of the field you're on. If you're on one team, it's great. If you're on the other team, it's a little egregious.
If I'm on the other team, right? If I'm Switzerland, we get in the locker room. I'm gonna, bro. Why? Why? That's my energy. That's my energy. See, me as a player, I always, when something stupid happened, if I wasn't doing something stupid, I would go to the person and go, bro, what are we doing? Like, what's up? Why would you do that? Like, you hurting the team. In that particular moment, Switzerland had the advantage. They felt like they had the momentum. And then you go do something so it was so unnecessary at the time. But you, again, you're the soccer guy. Was that a necessary dive?
I think in the game that we play in these days with the flopping and all that, and it's the same in the NBA. It's that's they're kind of trained to do that. It's almost second nature to feel that contact coming, not even feel the contact, and to go down. And I can remember when I was a young kid, our coach talked about that. Sell the foul. If you feel contact and you're in the box, like sell the foul. A little Hollywood in there. And I think that it's become second nature to these players. So in that moment, you got to be smarter than that. You have a yellow card, right? You got the momentum on your side, and the fact that he didn't have that mental awareness to not dive there is sad. And like you said, it hurts his team, and eventually they felt the consequences.
Well, it's funny you said it about the NBA because I've been watching the NBA Summer League last couple of days, and AJ DeBonza, great player, absolute number one pick. The second he gets any contact, the head whip, and it's like you're trained to do that. You're doing that in the workouts. Whoever's coaching you is coaching you on the first sign of resistance, the head back. And I'm like, oh, no, not you. Because I like the kid. I think AJ DeBonza is a spectacular prospect. But I didn't see Darren Peterson, and I'm not a fan of Darren Peterson, but I didn't see Darren Peterson doing that. I don't see Caleb Wilson doing that. I didn't see Boozer doing that. So it feels like, as you're saying it, how you were saying it, when you get in the box, your coach is telling you, hey, man, get a little Hollywood in there. Coach, when you see other coaches coaching negative things, what's the best way to respond to that? Because I talked about that the other day on a video where this guy's coaching defense on a public court, and he's just giving the worst instruction on how to play defense. What's the tool to help people like identify these false teachings and stop them?
Oh man, I saw that video, and as a lifelong soccer player who used to play pickup at the 24-hour for cardio when I was playing like high level soccer, that was my cardio workout. I even know you got to shuffle your feet, bro. I was watching that video like, oh man, what is going on? Um, but yeah, dude, it's hard because these days you got these people that want to help the youth community, and you got parents like willing to help out, and their heart is in the right place, like you said. But man, when they're given this misinformation, as a parent, you just got to know right off of the bat, like, hey, this is either the right coach for my kid or not. Definitely go with referrals. Definitely go with people that know the game, and ask for just suggestions. Um, yeah, it's got to be better in the youth coaching environment these days. But it's hard, man, because a lot of people talk a big game, and then when it comes down to it, they just don't have it.
So let's talk about tonight's game or today's game, the game that's coming at noon. Spain, France, we're here, and Lamine Lamal, I think that's how you pronounce it. He already talking trash. He's like 17, 18 years old. He already talking trash. So I think France, to me, again, from an eye of just seeing talented people do talented things, they've appeared to be the best team. Not even close. What have you seen from France and Spain?
I think Spain plays a different type of game. They play a lot of possession. They're going to keep the ball. They're going to win the possession game. They're going to pick and choose their moments on when they score. France has just been just crazy counterattack speed. We're going to get you with our individual skilled players. And those players, when they feel it, they're going to go at you 1v1, and they're gonna try to get their moment. It's going to be a crazy game because they played two very, very different styles of soccer. You got a possession-based game, and then you got one that's built around speed and dynamic movement. So it's going to be really interesting. I think that France has way too much firepower for Spain to just kind of sit back and try to hold the ball. I think Mbappe, Dembele, Olise, like all these French players, they just
All
got
the
too
lays,
much.
all the
There's just
lays,
too
all
many.
the
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. It's gonna be a tight game.
So okay, break it down for me then. How do we see this game going? Because I'll be prize picking off your predictions. So give me a little bit of breakdown. How this game supposed to look, so I can know where to put my money.
I think Spain does win the possession game. I think they're going to hold on to the ball quite a bit. They're going to pick and choose their moments on when they attack. I don't really see Lamine Yamal being a big factor. He kind of has been pretty quiet. He's going to get his chances on the outside, but I don't really see him being a big factor. I think there's a left back on the other side, Cucurella. I think he's had an awesome World Cup. He's going to be coming down the left side, whipping balls into the box. I really think that they're going to control the game and the tempo of the game. But as you've seen, and we see time and time again, Mbappe only needs a half a second and a half a yard, and he's putting that ball in the back of the net. So I think that France is going to pick and choose their counterattack moments. Spain will control the possession. I think we go into halftime and it's going to be a tight game, 1-1. Second half, it opens up a little bit and it's going to go 3-2 France.
Ooh, ooh, 3-2
Yeah,
France.
yeah, I got some Spanish blood and I would love to see them go, but they just got too much firepower, man.
And that's what I've been seeing from this tournament so far, man. They seem pretty unstoppable. Like it doesn't. Mbappe's found a way to, it feel like, score twice every game. I know that's not the number, but he seems to have scored every time I look up. And that's rare in that sport because Messi's doing the same thing. And so the two of them really seem like they're on a collision course for the World Cup. So, and on the Argentina side, but by the way, Argentina, I mean, listen, I'm old enough to remember the Don't Cry For Me Argentina song that Madonna made famous. Buddy, what are y'all doing? Argentina, what are y'all doing? Everybody, you know we can see y'all behavior, right? Your behavior towards black people, not a good look, Argentina. Not a good look. So coach, help me out. Argentina has played some unbelievable games. By unbelievable, I mean they've been of the close games. They've been in the most close games. Their games have been the Argentina games have been funner to watch because Copa Verde gave them trouble. Other teams have not necessarily given them trouble, but have given them a run for their money. How do you see Argentina performing in the next game against England?
England's going to give them a serious run for their money, and I feel that England is the team that can actually take them out. Teams have hung around with them. They've hung around. Somehow Argentina digs a little bit deeper late in those games. And yeah, they have been the most entertaining watch. People have been really upset about the way that VAR has been positively affecting their outcomes. Yes. And people have coined the term Vargentina. But the film doesn't lie. And when you go to the rule book, I appreciate the broadcast having that former referee on there because he is going to give you the by the book
rule.
The textbook. And so when you hear it, you're like, okay, well, that is the rule. They're just the ref can only officiate based on the rule book, right? I think there could be a little bit of discretion here and there that they need to use a little bit better, but it is what it is. So yeah, England they're gonna come out firing. They have the most English Premier League, which is the number one league in the world. Like they have the most English Premier League players on their squad. And from top to bottom, if you matched up man for man on every single one, I think that they are the better team. Now, you have one superstar, obviously, the greatest of all time, in my opinion. And that guy can always turn a game upside down at any given moment. But the experience and the talent that England has, I think they're going to be able to contain him enough to get the win.
Jude, again, I don't follow the sport. There are a couple people I walk away from this going, wherever I see you, I'm going to stop and watch. Kylian Mbappe, obviously, but a person, and everybody knew about him. And again, rookie at this. I had no idea who Jude Bellingham was. Wherever he goes now, if I'm near a television, he's on it, I will watch it. I will go out of my way to watch him play after this. And so there are certain players in this tournament that I have had, like Flo Balogun, not on the same level. But if he comes play somewhere at MLS, I'm going to watch that. I'm going to root for him. Jude Bellingham, wherever he plays in the world, that team just got a fan. I don't buy jerseys, but that team just got a fan because I heard a lot about the other guy who they had on their team. What's his name? The big white guy.
Harry Kane.
Harry Kane. I heard a lot about Harry Kane coming into this. I've seen way more Jude Bellingham when they need some. I've seen Jude Bellingham come up big time, and I haven't seen Harry Kane do much. So maybe I'm late to the game on Harry Kane, but the way I've seen this tournament develop, Jude Bellingham has been the guy at the end of the day when I watch England and I go, whoa, okay, I got somebody new. It jumps off the screen. It jumps off the screen, not in the same way that Holland jumped off the screen with his size and his ability to just body people up in the box. By the way, they had a flop too when they pushed, but whatever. Obviously, Kylian Mbappe jumps off the screen. Messi jumps off the screen. Lamine Yamal doesn't jump off the screen to me, but I get it. I get it. So there are players who have jumped off the screen, and he's been one to me. Has he been is this like a breakout for him, or is this just him being him?
Yeah, he's young, and he's not that household name yet. Harry Kane's been in this game for a while, dude, and so he is the guy that's like been proven to score goals in big games. And I think he had some bigger games in the early like group games, and then now in the knockout rounds, Jude has basically just paved the way. And I think it's good that you don't have just one guy that you're leaning on. Something really cool about Jude, I saw that after one of the games, all the England players were walking by, all the reporters, and just kind of walking right by this one dude who was disabled in a
I
chair.
saw that too.
Oh, how cool is that, man? I wanted to cry. And he was the one guy that stopped and spoke Spanish to the guy and answered a couple of questions. Just that little moment out of those days. And those are the things that I love about professional athletes that take that time for those little moments like that. And so I think he's really becoming that heartfelt player that people have a connection to.
So it's funny you mentioned that because I did see that, but I never talked about it because I didn't think it would resonate with people as much as it resonated with me. And so it's great to hear that resonated with you. In a situation like that, I see something like that. I hope he never loses that. Whatever that is in him that allowed him internally to see this kid or man or whomever this person was and stop. Whatever that is in him, I hope he never loses that because that's what probably made him great. The work ethic to have the level of character, like all these things, they go together. And the way that people kept going past this guy, going past this guy, going past this guy, and for him to just stop and be like, listen, I could give you a couple minutes. I ain't got nowhere to be. It was just so awesome, man. And that is how A, you create a fan, and B, that's how you show the world the type of person that you are. And I dug that 100%, man. I really did. You said something earlier that I wanted to hit on, but then I started talking about something else. And maybe you may feel different about this. The rhythm of the game is dictated by the referee on the field. I think one of the things that has hurt this World Cup is that when they go to the rule, everything is the letter of the rule. You and I both know, you played enough soccer, I played enough basketball. The game is not played by the letter of the rule. It's played by the interpretation of the referee interpreting the rules. That's how travel has changed in basketball over the years. What's a travel? What's not a travel? It's determined what's a catch, what's not a catch in the NFL. In soccer, I'm sure that there are similar things where if you don't have something as massive as VAR watching every move, and now you're going back and you're watching it in slow motion and you're watching it frame by frame, when you don't have that, the game has a natural rhythm to it. Do you think that the VAR being able to become such a large instrument has helped this World Cup or hurt it?
I think it's hurt it in the sense of keeping the rhythm of the game. When you're flowing and you got momentum on your side in soccer, it's easy to keep it rolling, and it makes the game a little bit easier for yourself. And then when you go and you stop it every 10 minutes or 12 minutes and you have a 7 minute stoppage and you got to go look at the screen, or you're waiting for the ref to get the notification to go to the screen and all this stuff, it really messes with you. So I don't appreciate that part of it. I appreciate the fact that they want to get it right for big games
Correct.
and big calls, but it's hurtful to the flow of the game. And if you're trying to engage fans and trying to get the average basketball or baseball fan to sit down and watch a game, and then you got a sport that is already seemingly slow for them, and then you're going to slow it down every 5 to 7 minutes, it's going to hurt even more.
One of the things people tried to sell me on soccer was, oh man, it's 90 minutes. You know when it starts, you know when it ends, it's bookend, it's not like you could plan your day around it. And I'm like, bro, if you have to sell me on the sport that from a time frame situation structure, you're in trouble. What I've seen in the World Cup has made me a fan. Oh, you didn't wait, you didn't tell us who you think is gonna win the England Argentina game.
I'm gonna go with England, only because I've seen this story before. I love it, but I would love to see England, a country that hasn't won it in 60 years. I would love to see a country like that win it. There's a lot of players on that team that I like. A couple guys that play for my club team, Newcastle United. That's my favorite team. They're in the England Premier League, and I would just love to see them win it because there's a lot of guys that I'm a fan of, and I want to see that happen. I want to see that for them. Now with Argentina, it's like I've seen this story before, right? I've seen Messi do it before. I've seen some of these
Mm-hmm.
guys already. I just want to see something new. I want to see some adversity, and I don't want to see the same movie again.
Nice. Okay. Oh, so we would be looking at a France England final.
I think so. Yeah.
That sounds juicy to me. That sounds juicy to
Yeah.
me. I like to see that.
Yeah. Who you taking if it's France, England?
Oh, no, but that's your department. I'm not foolish enough to make a choice. I'm not foolish enough to make a choice like that. I'll be going off of. I'd be picking Mbappe. That'd be my choice because it's Mbappe versus Jude Bellingham, and I think Mbappe is better from what I've seen in this particular tournament. So I would just say France off the strength of Mbappe, but that would be my only, level of opinion on that.
Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when the time comes.
Yeah, we'll definitely have you back on before that. So, and if this game gets hella crazy, I'll try to have you back on to try to explain. I'm sure VAR will dip their nose in the Argentina pool at some point during that game. So, but I hope we don't really see anything crazy. What is this tournament? What had, and we'll get you out of here on this. Of this tournament, what has surprised you the most?
I touched on this before. I think just the level of competitiveness across so many different games. I mean, this has been the most exciting World Cup I've ever watched in my lifetime, dude. I'm 41 years old, dude. Watched it every 4 years since I can remember, and this is the most exciting World Cup as a whole I've ever seen in my life. I'm literally watching all these games that I have no investment in. I'm just watching Morocco play. I'm watching Egypt play. And, the number of times I held my breath, like, oh, yelling. My wife's like, what? Calm down. I'm like, no, this is crazy. This is wild. And I'm loving the fact that soccer is growing because all these countries who have been just kind of a doormat for so many years are now giving the big dogs a run for their money. And I love that. I've always been an underdog guy, and I want to see the underdogs compete. And who knows, maybe we get the Cinderella story one year where the US or Cabo Verde wins it all.
Okay, I lied. I have another question for you, and then this question comes from what you just said. because this has been the most competitive World Cup you've ever seen, and you've been watching it, since you can remember. I'm relatively, like I said, always new to this. How does the MLS, because that's the league it'll be easiest for me to watch, so I'm being very selfish with this question. How does the MLS get better? Is it financial stability? How do they get some of these players from this tournament to come play in America? How do we juice up the MLS to get some of these guys here? Because I hear Alex used to tell me all the time, not Coach Alex, but Alex Padilla, the schedule that MLS plays on is it's a horrible schedule, and it hurts the ability for players to come play here and blah 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 blah. Which I don't care about that. MLS plays when they play because the NFL and the NBA happen here, so they got to get in where they fit in. So how does the MLS get better? How can we bring the world's talent? If it's not the A player, then maybe the B player and the C player, because there'll be the A player here. How do we bring those players into the fold in the MLS?
I think it's going to start with the MLS not looking to the rest of the world. It's going to start from the MLS looking through the streets of Chicago and looking through the streets of San Diego and finding those little diamonds in the rough and putting the investment in our own youth and our own kids playing this game in our country and finding those gems on our own soil. That's where it's going to happen. And we're going to start building these stars, and we're going to start cultivating our own stars. And that's where the investment needs to come from the professional teams. They need to put the investment and their revenue and profit back into their academies and create a platform where they pay for your academy, they pay for your schooling, they pay for your coaching, right? And the way it's set up in the rest of the world, when countries do that, they then write a contract with you. And later on, if you ever sign a contract for X amount of dollars, then they get back like 17% or whatever it is. And that's how it's set up in the rest of the world. And until we can start doing that in this country, we're going to have to continue looking elsewhere. And we're going to have to continue relying on superstars coming here for their retirement tour of, hey, I'm going to go live in Miami and play for a few years and make a few extra bucks on my way out of this game. Because that's what it's turned into. The MLS is it's a retirement party for these superstars. So that is the only way it's going to happen, Browner. We got to put the investment in our kids in this country, and it's going to come from the clubs putting the investment into their youth academies, and not, hey, you need to pay us 10 grand a year to play in our academy. Hey, you're going to play in our academy for free, and we're going to bank on the fact that we're going to turn you into a superstar. That's where it needs to happen.
SDFC has a beautiful, beautiful campus that they're building down by the border, but that doesn't feel like that's for San Diego. That feels like they're capitalizing on their geographical position to Mexico, so that they could be able to recruit in both regions of both the countries. Which I don't have a problem with that. I think that a large investment within the San Diego community and the youth within the San Diego community will be fruitful for them as well. There are a ton of athletes here. A ton of athletes. Again, a lot of people look at San Diego and they see something things. Like Reggie Bush is one of the most electric collegiate running backs I have ever seen. Anyone has ever seen. He is from San Diego. Like, the athletes exist here. And I hope that at some point down the road, each MLS club can build something like what the SDFC has built, where they've built it wherever they're at, whether that be Chicago or whether it be Los Angeles, Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes and his wife Brittany. They have some ownership in the women's and the men's version of whatever they're doing over there. Like, so if these people can invest in these teams, I hope that they could also then invest in the youth and within the community to try to build through the youth in the community to continue to uplift the organizations and the teams, other than just selling people tickets.
Exactly.
All right. Is there anything you want to share before you go? Something you want to talk about, not soccer related?
No, that's pretty much it. I did see, the MLB draft happened. There's a kid from LCC that got drafted late round,
Nice.
like 18th. He went to the Cardinals. It's a friend of mine's son. Just want to give him a little shout out. His name's Gabe Camacho. And
Shout out,
yeah,
Gabe Camacho.
LCC.
Congratulations.
Yeah, LCC, putting out some athletes just like that. So yeah, congrats to him, and yeah, prayers to his family. They're kind of going through a little tough time right now. So prayers to the Camacho, but congrats on this little achievement for their son, man. Pretty cool.
Shout out to the Camacho family, man. Hope the drafting gives them a little bit of sunshine that they need if they're going through a tough time, man. Shout out. Hashtag stop the flop. Coach Alex, we'll see you in a couple of days when we got another game to talk about.
Yeah, appreciate it. Later.
Always, brother. That's Coach Alex, man, coming in, kicking it with Coach, dropping some soccer knowledge on your boys, man. As always, I want you guys to continue to subscribe to the show, to like the show. I'm going to be on live in Vegas at 4:45 Las Vegas time, talking NBA basketball, summer league, things of that nature. I'm also going to be on the Sporting Tribune later tonight. I think that's at 8 or 9 o'clock. I think it totally depends when the summer league game's in. Just talking sports, man. Growing the brand, getting the name back out there, solo style now. So if you guys can participate in any of those things, I'd appreciate it. The 445 in Vegas is Cofield and Co. Shout out to them. I'm going to try to get Cofield on the show sooner rather than later. What else we got here? I got one more thing I want to talk about on the show before we get out of here. I'm trying to find out where I put it. Okay, here we go. So the NFL released their top 100. And also the GMs, execs, and coaches, scouts put out their top 10 quarterbacks. I want to talk about the top 100 players. The Lamar Jackson being 69 on this list is a very, very telling story. The development of Lamar Jackson has been very interesting. And by development, I mean the rise and fall of Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson was a MVP. Lamar Jackson was everything. And I mean everything. And now I sit here and I'm showing you a rundown of Lamar Jackson being the 69th best player ranked in the NFL. 69. If Gronk was here, he would giggle. This is a player survey. This is not the GM survey, and we'll get to that one next. The GM and the coach survey. This is the players ranking each other. There is a cornerback in front of Lamar Jackson. The fall of Lamar Jackson has been one of the more interesting stories that I have seen developing a quarterback. When they teamed up Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, everybody thought this was going to equal a Super Bowl. 1,000%. The fact that they've got these, again, players are telling you, and I'm going to mix this survey with the executive survey, because when I show you the top 10 quarterbacks, for Lamar Jackson to be 69 on the players list, but in a top 10 as a quarterbacks on the execs list is a very odd mixed message. Because in this particular situation, who do you side with, the players or the executives? Me, I tend to side with the players, the guys who are on the field deciding the game. Lamar Jackson being 69 after being number 2 the previous year is telling. It's telling. The NFL players fall off a cliff. This happened to Michael Vick. Jail helped, but this happened to Michael Vick. This happens to countless running backs. All of a sudden, they ain't got that half a second of burst. It ain't the same no more. We've seen this happen to Randall Cunningham. We've seen this happen. Steve Young, this happened to Steve Young, but Steve Young was able to turn himself into more of a throwing quarterback who ran when it was absolutely necessary. The fall of Lamar Jackson has been something interesting because I have always been, of the last 2 years, I've been very critical of Lamar Jackson. Now, Lamar Jackson's been out here getting his money, and in the road to get your money, Lamar Jackson has had to not play to preserve his body. and not playing to preserve his body to get paid has hurt him amongst players. And if you think that's a lie, let me repeat to you again. Lamar Jackson is 69 on the top 100 players. They're telling you that there are 68 players better than Lamar Jackson. Okay? Xavier McKinney is ranked better than Lamar Jackson. Closely behind Lamar Jackson is Gordon Sutton, something named Jordan Brooks. Like this list of players that Lamar Jackson has now been bunched in with is to me, a utter embarrassment to Lamar Jackson. And they'll throw the stats up: 13 games, 63% passing percentage, 2,500 yards, 8 yards to pass, 21 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 300 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, 7 fumbles. Like, okay. The erosion of Lamar Jackson has occurred because he doesn't win. Lamar Jackson's erosion amongst other players is simply because he doesn't win big games. If Lamar Jackson's statistics were what we see now, but he had a Super Bowl appearance, a couple Super Bowl appearances under his belt, or a Super Bowl win under his belt, he wouldn't be 69. Because Joe Burrow, by the way, not poorly ranked, got to the Super Bowl. So if you get to the Super Bowl, that clears a lot of this up. But if you're injured and you don't have a track record of winning the big games, you drop from 2 to 69. And it's not like he didn't play the entire year. He played 13 games. And then the other end of this, by the way, the other end of this, ESPN, I'm trying to make sure I pull this up. ESPN had their, version of this, and they did the top 10 quarterbacks. So of the top 10 quarterbacks, I'm going to give you ESPN's rollout of this, and you tell me what you think. Okay? So ESPN's, the number 1 player is Josh Allen. I can work with that. That's fine with me. Josh Allen, number 1. Patrick Mahomes, number 2. I'm fine with that. I can work with that. Matthew Stafford, number 3. Now we're getting shaky. Joe Burrow, number 4. I can get with that. Lamar Jackson, number 5. So, by the way, Caleb Williams is on this list. And the fact that there's a Chicago Bear quarterback in the top 10 of NFL quarterbacks, tickles my fancy, but that's a different conversation. So Lamar Jackson is ranked 5th amongst the execs and 69th amongst the players. This is quarterbacks, though. This is quarterbacks. So the execs, the coaches, and the scouts are telling you Lamar Jackson is better than Dak Prescott. By the way, of course he is. Justin Herbert. Okay. Drake May seems to be everybody loves Drake May now. Jared Goff, no thanks. And obviously, like I said before, Caleb Williams at number 10. Do you see Jalen Hurts on this list? Do you see Brock Purdy on this list? This list is interesting. Again, this is not the NFL players surveying themselves. This is the coaches, the execs, and the scouts giving you the top 10 quarterbacks. Brock Purdy, they're telling you Brock Purdy is not a top 10 quarterback. They're telling you Jalen Hurts is not a top 10 quarterback. They're telling you C.J. Stroud, who was everybody's darling 2 years ago, is not a top 10 quarterback. Funny how times change, Never been a fan. Never been a Brock Purdy guy. Never been a Dak Prescott guy. Never been a Jalen Hurts guy. Never have. Don't think I ever will be. So that speaks for itself. The fact that Lamar Jackson sits 6th on this list, 69 on the other list, lets you know amongst who he has something to prove. And I think Lamar Jackson's got a lot to prove in the locker room with a new head coach, a new that you can only blame so many people in sports. In sports, you can only blame so many people. There's only a certain amount of people who get fired on your watch. Now that John Harbaugh is gone, there's no one else to blame but Lamar Jackson. So this season, after even though Lamar Jackson's a two-time MVP, even though Lamar Jackson has some of the most jaw-dropping highlights you will ever see in an NFL highlight reel, at some point when you've gotten your coach fired who's been with you since day one, you've had 3 or 4 offensive coordinators fired. People always complain you don't have enough wide receivers, you don't have this, you don't have that. When they fire the head coach who's been there for 10, 15 years, it's on you now. This may be the most important season in Lamar Jackson's career. Because if Lamar Jackson comes up short this year, or if Lamar Jackson is hurt this year, people going to write you off. And not in the Geno Smith way, oh, they wrote me off, I didn't write back. People going to write Lamar Jackson off as injury prone, can't win the big game, and then they go move on. Because you got Bo Nix now. You got Caleb Williams. You got Justin Herbert. You got Drake May. You might have Fernando Mendoza. There's an entirely new crop of quarterbacks, man. And if you don't win the big moments, you don't win the big games, how do you separate yourself from the young guys coming up? People have seen the Lamar Jackson movie. They've seen the Lamar Jackson movie. They know how it ends. Can he rewrite it? I don't know. But the criticism seems rightful. The criticism seems well placed. I mean, I don't know how y'all got Jared Goff ranked over Caleb Williams, but all right. I mean, Drake May had MVP votes. Justin Herbert is people don't like people have a lot of smoke for Justin Herbert. But yeah, the statistics, Justin Herbert need a big year this year too, by the way. I'm looking to see that. I'm looking to see that indeed. All right, y'all, let's hit the music. I think that's it for the show today. Good show. Good energy. Again, like the show. Subscribe to the show. I like how we have end music now. Let people know it's over. Subscribe to the show. Catch me at 4:40 on ESPN Las Vegas. Then catch me tonight on the Sporting Tribune, which airs on YouTube and X as well. It's also posted on a pod afterwards. Until then, man, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Take it easy. Peace.